Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Dr. Anna Jackson, and I am joined by two amazing women, Ellie, who is going to be our translator, and then Amarilys, who is a homeopathic pharmacist in Brazil. So Amarilys started working with homeopathy in 1984 in her pharmacy. And to this day, she does not practice any Western or allopathic medicine, but instead she uses a lot of homeopathy, phytotherapy, and flower essences in her practice. She has a master's in science and a PhD degree in public health from the University of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And she is the Secretary of Pharmacy of the Medical League of Homeopathic Medicine, which is an international association. So she has traveled to so many different countries, India, US, Holland, Italy, Germany, seeing how they practice homeopathic medicine there. And right now in Brazil, she owns a laboratory, Homeopathy of Naturals, HN, and she is able, her and her team are able to provide the crude substance and all of the homeopathic medicines for the people of Brazil. So thank you both so much for being here. We're so excited to learn more, and I'm going to ask you some questions about homeopathy in Brazil and kind of how it is down there, okay? So, Amarilys, what is homeopathy like in Brazil? Is it accepted? Kind of what's the general view of the state of homeopathy down there?
Well, before starting, I would like to thank for this opportunity to let more people know about homeopathy. It is practiced a lot in Brazil, and I'm happy to be able to share this with all of you. So how is homeopathy in Brazil? Many people know about it. Mostly it's practiced by doctors. They study medicine and they become homeopaths. Dentists, veterinary professionals, pharmacists, all of these professionals, they can officially practice homeopathy in Brazil. Also, agronomists, it's growing a lot, and other professionals in the health area like physiotherapists, the pharmacists, as I mentioned before, they were only authorized to prepare medicine, homeopathic medicine, but now they can also prescribe. Also, beyond the professionals of the health area, there are therapists. We call homeopath therapists. They have to go through a course. There are many good courses in Brazil, and so they study, and so they are trained to be able to help treat the health of people as homeopath. Usually these therapists are not in the capitals of the states of Brazil. They are in smaller cities, so they bring a lot of benefit to people. So in Brazil it's very much accepted, homeopathy.
And Amarilys, what education or training is required? Are there universities there? Where can students learn homeopathy?
Nowadays, the situation is people can learn at the university or associations, school homeopathy schools connected to associations that are not linked to an university. Pharmacists, a little bit different. If during their studies to be a pharmacist, they go through a subject of homeopathy, and after they participate in an internship linked to the university, After that, this person can become a technician, a responsible technician in a pharmacy for manipulating and preparing homeopathic medicine. Also, but they cannot prescribe. For that, they have to study more. So they would have to go through a specialization. For example, nowadays I teach at the University of São Paulo. I teach an elective course in homeopathy. They take 60 hours in this subject, and they can go through an internship, and then they can be responsible for a homeopathic pharmacy. How does a doctor can become a homeopath? So he graduates as a doctor, and after that he has to go through an specialization. The same happens to vets or dentists, agronomists. It's very common in Brazil, and it's growing a lot, homeopathy for agronomists. And for the people called therapists, like laymen or people that are not in the health area, they have to go through courses that are linked to associations. They are very long courses, more than 300 hours minimum. So it's according to their profession, it will be the number of hours. So there's a lot of possibilities, but for sure these courses are not informative. They're called certification courses, so it's many hours of study.
And here in America, there are about 11 states where homeopaths can practice, and they aren't recognized, though, as doctors. They're licensed by the homeopathic board, but it's different in every state. So in Brazil, are homeopaths licensed? What are the laws around homeopathy? Are there laws around homeopathy in Brazil?
Yes, there are laws, and the legislation is one for the whole country, for all the states. So pharmacists, vets, dentists, doctors, they have their professional associations, and so they go through a test to get their title of specialization. If they pass, they become a specialist, and so these are all linked to medical associations, dentistry association. So they are recognized as specialists. So a doctor can prescribe homeopathy and can't say he's a homeopath if he's not licensed. But any doctor can prescribe homeopathy. And for other professionals, even being the health area, that they dedicate to homeopathy, they have to go through courses. And we can see some rivalry between the professionals from the health area and the ones that I call therapists or laymen. But we have to understand that these are causing great benefit to the profession. They're usually not in the big cities, and the people are benefiting a lot.
In Brazil, is homeopathy well known? Do people actively seek it out? And then when they seek it out, is it more for acute problems like the flu, or is it for more chronic issues? Well, what do people seek out there?
I think I can say homeopathy is very well accepted in Brazil, yes. And even for acute or chronic problems. So there are homeopaths that will be treating people, throughout the year. And some of patients will say, and then I have an acute problem, or my son, and I take them to the doctor, as if a homeopath is not a doctor. But there are all kinds of situations. So for acute or chronic situations, people look for a homeopath. What else did you ask?
Acho que foi isso mesmo. E se é bastante aceito aqui.
Also if it's well accepted in Brazil. Well, what we see in Brazil and in many countries throughout the world, we see homeopathy has been going through some critics. It happens in Brazil. There are lots of skeptics, people that want to take homeopathy out, but in general, it's very well accepted.
Okay. And I know that you have your HN laboratory and you supply many homeopathics. Where else can people buy homeopathics? I know here we can buy it at the local food store. They have homeopathics. So is it like that in Brazil? And is it easily available to find homeopathy?
Well, we may say that we are in transition in Brazil. In the past, there were industrialized homeopathic products like drops for sinusitis. After this started to decrease, these that I said that were industrialized, and in pharmacies, compositions or unique medicine, they always existed, so people need to go to a pharmacy, not to a food store. This doesn't happen in Brazil. In Brazil, homeopathic medicines are considered medicine, and because of that, they need to be sold in pharmacies, with or without manipulation, not in food store. The industrialized ones that I said that they started to decrease, what we see that nowadays they're starting to come back. There are some companies that usually did or prepared allopathic medicine. They started to do some dynamizations, but they don't say it's a homeopathic medicine. They say it's a natural medicine. We see it growing a lot, mainly for animals. The number of this kind of preparations for animals is really great, big. If you want to buy a homeopathic medicine in Brazil, let's say you can use arnica for traumas, so you go to the pharmacy and you ask for it. It's possible that the pharmacy will say, do you have a prescription? And you say, no, I don't have. But at this moment, the pharmacist, sometime in the past now, can prescribe right away. So what he will do is really confirm what you're asking. Why do you need it? Oh, because I hit, my knee or I fall. So if the pharmacist is in agreement that arnica will be fine, they will write a prescription and his name will be as the prescriber. And the law in Brazil says that homeopathic medicine is of free sale. So there are some exceptions like low potencies because of toxicity, but there's a regulation that says that in order to be manipulated in a pharmacy, it needs to have a prescription, but as I said, the pharmacist can be the prescriber, so it's okay. It means it's not so free that you get to a pharmacy and you get the medicine and buy it, but it's not so difficult. It's not that you have problems to get it. You get there, you talk to the pharmacist, and it's fine.
Okay. And in your opinion, is homeopathy in Brazil growing? Are there memberships there? How many homeopaths do you think are in Brazil right now?
Well, it's hard to answer the number because it's such a big country, and I would. It's necessary to have this great organization to really know the number. So I can't say, but if it's growing, yes, specifically, I can say that it's in the moment of this pandemic we're living in, we see great possibilities for homeopathy. But as I said before, there is the reaction of skeptics, as we see throughout the world. But what can I say? Many people look for it, many health professionals want to study about it. Now we see many doctors wanting to become homeopaths. pharmacists becoming prescribers, and the therapists that I mentioned. So I can say yes, it is growing in Brazil. It's a good situation. It's not that we see it like fastly growing, but we can see it's being strengthening and has a sedimented growth.
And Amarilys, any other thing that you would like to share with us about homeopathy in Brazil?
Yes, I would like. I just forgot to mention something in the previous question. I'd like to talk about the agronomists and vets, not only the ones who have clients in the cities, but also we see a growth for treating animals in farms. These usually we see animals that they use their milk, meat, and eggs. These can be called organic because it's treated with homeopathic medicines, so they have a greater price and it's healthier, so many people look for it. And there's lots of examples in Brazil of agronomists using this in the plantations in Brazil, in crops. And I'd like to talk really about the opportunity for in this pandemic we're living in. We know that in history, homeopathy has grown a lot and has become valued a lot in pandemics. So now is the time, I think, that there's a possibility for homeopathy to get out of the situation as being a promise for the future, but to become something really concrete. I know there are lots of studies being made and being coordinated or not, but that are happening. There are some that are being coordinated by the Brazilian Association of Homeopaths, connecting the doctors and patients so we can have a number to share of people that have recovered from the COVID with homeopathic medicine. Lots of pharmacists supplying, making it easier for these patients to receive this medicine. And there are other kinds of protocols that are linked to associations or schools or from abroad. We're having some protocols from doctors in India. So lots of protocols are happening nowadays. I am participating in many of them with different medications. If we have positive results, which I personally think we will have, it will be a great moment to strengthen homeopathy and much more than that, to help people to being safe and healthy and recover their health. So I believe in this, and I think it's important for us to have this possibility. Many years ago, I participated in the dynamization or preparing the medicine for meningitis when there were no vaccine. It was very interesting. It was not very well documented from the point of view of methodology, but what we heard from people is that cities that took those dynamizations, they have such a decrease of numbers in the meningitis in relation to other cities around these cities. I am nowadays participating in the preparation of an ozone for COVID, so there are many ways of participating for the benefit of all people. That's basically it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, both Ellie and Amarilys. We really appreciate sharing the state of homeopathy in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.